everyone, it's Lottie from Cancer is a Lifestyle. So we're back in my room. I am happy to report that I am done painting completely. Everything, all the corners, everything is done painted. But I still have this huge pile here. And I wish I could show you my bed and everything else. So I'm just going to show you this nice clean area here. But I was thinking about my cancer today. I was going back in my memories, and as I've told you, it's been 12 years now that I've had my cancers, and I've been in remission 2.5 years this time. But my cancer has come back 4 times in that time. And I've been thinking about actually something that happened to me quite a few times already, and I thought that maybe I need to address it. And so I'm going to tell you 2 stories, okay? So the first time is when I was, I think it was my 3rd time, and I went back to chemo. And now you have to remember that my oncologist happens to be someone that I've had for the last 3 times. My last 3 reoccurrences were with the same woman, with the same oncologist, the same chemo team, the same clinic, the same hospital, everything. Everything's been the same with these. So I know them very well. They know me. And so when I went back to chemo, the chemo nurses and the staff, they kind of, let's say that they welcomed me very warm-heartedly. You know, they always referred to me as the lady who crochets, because I would always crochet during my chemo treatments. And so it was one incident where, the clinic itself where you get chemo is not an open area. These are several small rooms where you can fit 2 patients at one time. And it is unisex, so it's not just like all women or all men. We're mixed. So I was in a room with another lady, and this lady was apparently very sick. And by that I mean she was throwing up. I could see that she was throwing up. Now, if that may seem like nothing, isn't chemo supposed to make you throw up? Well, actually, no. That's the olden days. Now they give you enough steroids and all where it helps prevent a lot of the vomiting. So if you're vomiting, you are actually very sick. You're having probably infections or other things are going on where your treatment is not going well right now at this moment. So she was going through a rough time. I could tell just by the fact that she was very sick. You could tell her color wasn't. She was very pale, and she was very tired. She was throwing up, and she had a hard time. So when I walked into the room and the nurses saw that I was back, they were just like, oh, Miss Krol, how are you? And, and we're hugging and we're kissing and, and we're just like, where have you been? And how you doing? And, oh, we're so sorry to see you back here again. And it was just, and we're laughing and we're talking and we're just like, almost, I'm having chemo for heaven's sakes, but it was just that way. It was just very, we were just embracing each other, and we were very happy with that. And I look over to the lady that is actually having her treatment, and like I said, she is not doing well over there in the corner on her side of the room, and she is glaring at me. I mean, she was literally glaring at me. She was not happy with me at all. And it dawned on me at that moment that here I am, all cheerful and happy and, hey, how are you? And all this. And I'm going through treatment, but I'm not in any way sick as she is. I'm not going through what she has been going through. In fact, I'm acting like, I'm at a party. And it dawned on me at that moment that I need to tone it down. That I had to tone it down a little bit, that I was irritating this woman. And I've noticed this. That's one incident. Now I'm going to tell you of another incident where I felt that my attitude or my positivity, let's put it that way, with my cancer, my acceptance of my cancer has irritated other people going through treatment. the other time I'm going to mention is my last treatment when I had was going through radiation. Now, why in the world I looked, this young lady thought, um, you know, the way she thought, I don't know, because I was really having a hard time with radiation. I did not want nothing to do with radiation. I hated every minute of radiation, and I was not a happy camper. I did not like any of it. I resisted radiation. I've had like, oh my goodness, the thoughts I had with radiation was just, it was a really tough time for me. And I sat in the waiting room, and as you are waiting for in radiation, if you've never had it, you only see about two people. The one who just went ahead of you, and the one who's waiting to go after you. So you only see, you know, at one, and you don't even see the two of them at one time, you know. You see, you know, 5 minutes here and then 5 minutes there. But there was a young lady who brought her mom for radiation. And I am sitting there, and as I'm going, I can't believe that she, you know, I irritated her in some way because, like I said, in my mind, I was going through all these negative things. I was just really not a happy person through radiation. And she asked me, oh, so what kind of cancer do you have? And I tell her that what cancer I have. And she goes, well, who's with you? And I said, nobody's with me. I'm here by myself, you know. And then she asked me, well, how can you be here by yourself? You know, how are you going to drive home? And I said, well, I've been coming to treatment by myself for years. That I you know, this is not my first time, and I've been through this. Is my fourth time. And she's like, your fourth time? But each time she answered, you know, she was just very aggressive. Let's put it that way, like just incredulous, you know. Like, you know, what, don't you have any family? Doesn't anybody want to come with you? Or why do you come here by yourself? And I said, because I'm fine. I can come by myself. I can drive myself home. I'm okay, you know. And then she says, well, you don't even look like you have cancer. And I said, well, I didn't even know what to answer her. She was just so upset with me. And I said, well, you know, and then I mentioned that I had to go to work later, that you know, and she goes, you work? How could you work? And you have all these cancer, how many times, and you go to work still? You maintain a job? How? Do you even feel pain? And I was just like so taken aback by it. But then, you know, I went in for my radiation. When I came back, she was gone. But I thought about this many times. And I thought to myself, I irritated this young lady, and without even meaning to. And I think why that happens, why I have these incidents is, one, I think because people tend to forget, I have gone through this 12 years now. This is 12 years of me. The way I am, it took 12 years in the making. Okay, it's not because, you know, this is my first rodeo, you can say, you know. And for people who are going through cancer the first time, I irritate them with my positivity, or the fact that I'm working, or the fact that I'm not on any medications, or that I may look better, I don't know. But I noticed that I have to be very careful how I present myself, especially to people who are going through it the first time, because I tend to irritate them without even meaning to do that. And that's not to be, you know, and I don't want anyone to think negatively towards them, because I understand completely where they're coming from. Here they are going through processing everything that's going on in, you know, in their lives. You know, oh my gosh, it disrupts everything in your life. Totally disrupts everything. And you don't even have time to go through it. It takes years for you to process everything that's been going on with you. And then somebody here comes in and they're just like, you know, whistling a tune and everything's fine, and she comes by herself. She doesn't need assistance. You know, like, let me tell you, I had my very first time, I did have a chemo partner. I had someone that drove me to treatment. I had someone who picked up medications for me, who made appointments, who brought me food, who basically did things for me. I was not in any shape to be on my own. Let's put it that way. I had people that came and cleaned my home for me. I had people take care of me, you know. So I was never this, you know, what I am now, and maybe that I'm self-sufficient is because it has taken 12 years for me to become self-sufficient. And let me tell you, even though I go through it over and over again, I still go through it mentally. I still have some issue with it. Like, look at this last time, the fact that that I had radiation. I mean, it's my 4th time, and I'm have a problem with radiation. And I had such a mental block that, I mean, just the thought that, oh my goodness, I could, you know, if I go back into treatment, they'd give me radiation again. I was ready to, like, you know, never do treatment again. You know, I was just really crazy over radiation. But I need to learn to downplay it a little bit, and by that is, I mean that I need to show more empathy, I think, to and remember that the person sitting next to me, this is their first time, or maybe they're not at the place that I am at. So this is just a little reminder, I think, that sometimes, and I noticed this even in my chronic illness group, when we have dealt with an illness for a long time, when we learn to adapt to a lot of things, we learn to process things a lot, we learn how to be independent, we just adjust to life, where, you know, we want to be as independent as possible because we know the day will come when that will change. So I've noticed that a lot of us are like that. And not because we may want to be, as much as that life makes us that way. It pushes us to that point where we have to, you know, to be as best as, you know, to be as independently as we can. So that may look to somebody else who's just going through an illness for the first time themselves, that, you know, oh, look at them, they're just, you know, why am I not feeling like this? And then they lash out at people. But they don't mean to lash out at people. It's just that their way of dealing with things. So I was thinking about that today because, you know, I tend to almost sometimes, I think I just, you know, hey, how are you? And everything's going to be fine. And people look at me and they think that this is how it is. And let me tell you, it isn't. Even when I do that, there's a lot going on. And I have some bad days too. And I think we should be more aware, especially those of us that do have a chronic illness, whether it's cancer or, you know, a heart disease or, you know, lupus or MS or anything else. You know, we adapt, and it took years to adapt to that, and we tend to forget that the people that are just being diagnosed, that when they're lashing out at us, or they're the things they say to us, or you know, or how we present ourselves to them, because we don't want to give them the impression that we don't understand their situation. So that's just something I wanted to you know, bring forth today. I was thinking about that. I was in contact with someone who has cancer, and I just realized that I need it, and I something just told me at that moment that, you know, just calm it down and not be as, you know, hey, you need to do this, you need to do that, and sometimes we just need to listen. And so I just wanted to share that with all of you. And like I said, I don't want anyone to say anything negative about the two people that I mentioned, because it's just something that they were going through in their life. And at that moment, I'm sure they're different, you know, they're in a different place, in a different stage at now. But I think it was more, you know, more of a learning curve for me to remember that there are other people that are going through it for the first time, and I need to just bring it down a notch and show some empathy and remember how it was for me. So anyway, thank you so much for listening to me rambling on like always. You know, you guys are my therapy session. This is my therapy session, and this is why, a lot of people don't, um, uh, you know, they don't understand that a lot of times here I'm venting to you guys, or I'm venting through my writing, and this is my therapy session. So you guys are my psychiatrists, and you're my therapists, and you're sitting there listening to me. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. And thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't. I would love to hear from you. You guys know how to contact me if you want to send me an email. I am only happy to, um, get back, get back to you. And also, I do want to throw it out there. I throw it out occasionally. If you do know someone who has a chronic illness and you would like me to make a blanket for them, I would be more than happy to do that, and I will send it to them free of charge. Not a problem. Just email me and let me know, who to send it to, and I will be more than happy to do so. Otherwise, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.